This is Bryan Mills with AdvzrTek. On today's Dialogue 2.0, our guest is Joe Elsasser, creator of Social Security Timing. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, Bryan.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. Joe is actually with us out of his home office in Omaha, Nebraska. Joe, why did you start Social Security Timing?
Realistically, I'm getting the same questions that probably everybody watching this video are getting, and that's, when should I take Social Security? When should we take Social Security? And that was kind of the bigger thing. The more I would get into that question, the more I'd realize that there was a whole world here that people weren't exploring, that advisors weren't exploring. And so Social Security Timing really started out as a collection of Excel spreadsheets that kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger to account for the incredible number of rules in the Social Security system. And I needed a way that I could have certainty that I had addressed all the options for my clients.
Well, that is, in our industry, we're always searching for tools. These tools are, in essence, there to help our clients. When I have a problem, sometimes I don't create something. The fact that you created this tool is fantastic, and obviously you're very driven and motivated as an entrepreneur. What would you say of from starting out with, let's say, spreadsheets, and then going through that whole process of then automating it, right? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? How long did that take you? How long was this process? Was this something overnight, or was this something that happened over the course of, a few years?
It most certainly wasn't overnight. I mean, it was probably 2 years ballpark working in spreadsheets first, and then other advisors liked them, but the minute they left, so I would run these kind of analyses for a few other advisors that I worked closely with. But then anytime I'd update the spreadsheets, I didn't have any kind of database system or anything like that. So I just had the inputs and the output. And so that's when we figured it was important to really build out a database-driven calculation engine that could really keep a record over time of how this whole thing had evolved. And so then we started doing the same thing, but out of an actual software program, which sped up the process a lot. And then in February of 2011, that was when we did our soft launch to advisors across the country. So it's been an exciting process, about 5 years in the making, and I think this message is just now starting to hit the mainstream.
Okay, and you just recently also had a book published, correct?
Yes, Social Security Essentials is the name of the book, and you can get it on Amazon.
Okay, well, I figured I'd at least give you the opportunity to mention that. Why not? That's the whole purpose, is so to inform the audience, because AdvzrTek, my mission is obviously to share technology, apps, and anything really that can help the financial service professional to help his clients. And over time, it's people like yourself. It's this community that others should know about how others are helping others. And really the end game is to help clients. Knowing that, how can your product and your service with Social Security Timing help an advisor, an insurance agent, or even someone who feels that they have their own Social Security strategy? Please, share with us.
Yeah. Well, what's unique about the book is that was actually written for consumers, not for advisors.
Oh, okay.
Where it becomes really valuable to advisors is that's me and an advisor who runs a small shop in Kansas City that has about $1 billion under management. They added about $100 million of new money under management last year, with Social Security being their number one source of new clients. And so what you'll hear as an advisor reading that book is, what language is it that you use to communicate the value of Social Security planning to clients? How can you talk about the fingers that Social Security has that reach into every other part of the client's financial plan? And so once you're able to communicate how Social Security touches the rest of the financial plan, or influences the decisions you make as you build the rest of the plan, then you need a tool like Social Security Timing to help them really start that process, identify that optimal Social Security strategy in order to then bring that into the overall financial plan for the client. build their other retirement incomes, their other insurance protections around that Social Security strategy.
Now, you've integrated your software with a few other companies, correct?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
FinanceLogix being probably the biggest and the most exciting one. FinanceLogix is a financial planning software that they've got a variety of tools, but what's exciting about that is Social Security has some really unique properties when it comes to tax. Specifically, it gets its own line on the 1040. And FinanceLogix is really unique in that it's a tax accurate, it's a very tax accurate software relative to other financial planning software. So when you bring the Social Security strategy into FinanceLogix, and we've automated that process now, you can really see not just the guaranteed aspects of Social Security and the rates of return differential. You can also see the tax advantages of Social Security relative to other assets. So that's been an exciting process for us.
Okay, so it'd be, in essence, for someone who's into cars, it'd be like adding nitrous to a Ferrari, right?
Pretty much.
All right. Now, in the industry itself, Social Security is very complex. Where do you see Social Security timing and Social Security itself evolving, let's say, over the next few years? I don't want to go too far out because that's a long conversation and people might get scared.
Sure. You look at me, you look at you, we're both young guys, right? And when you get down to it, will the Social Security system remain intact as it is today when we are ready to retire? It's unlikely. At the end of the day, there are going to be changes to that system. But for the advisor who's focused in the retirement income space, those folks that are right on the cusp of retirement, say 60 to 66, it really is unlikely that substantial change is going to impact those folks. And so in terms of Social Security changing, I fully believe that it will change. Will it change for those people who are on the cusp of retirement today? I fully believe that it will not substantially change for those folks. So in terms of our software, I expect this to become, and we're already seeing it become, a core offering for advisors. It's one of those questions that's universally asked, and there's not a universal answer. And so having a process to get the right answer is something that just really needs to be in most advisors, especially if you're in that retirement income space, in the toolkit.
So you filled a nice void in that toolkit.
I'd like to think so.
Very good. What would you say out of all the particular tools, and you've mentioned that you look at yourself in your service as a tool, was there any particular development in software or hardware that had an impact on your business and really I would go so far as saying incremental and instrumental in helping you establish your business?
It's kind of funny. Being a software company, behind the scenes, there's all kinds of tech innovations, and you never hear people talk about a SQL database, but oh my gosh, we'd be dead. We'd be dead without all the database work that goes in behind the scenes.
Sure.
In terms of client-facing technologies, it's really neat how code has evolved to be able to put different skins. Just think of, a blog or something like that. You can quickly put a skin and make one application look completely different depending on who's looking at it. And so for us, we work both with individual advisors as well as with institutions. And obviously when an institution wants to, XYZ brokerage firm wants to equip its advisors with a software tool, they want to make sure that it's partly their value proposition that's being delivered. So being able to write code in such a way that lets you swap out the front end really quickly is just an incredible development.
It's all about it's the branding aspect, right?
Yes, it is.
See, I'm a simpleton. To me, I'm looking at, okay, this is what it is. This is how it works. How can I make it work for me and look great? And that answers my question. Is there any particular gadget that you just can't leave home without?
Oh, like everybody else. I mean, we're in financial services. It's got to be the phone.
Okay.
Your phone's your email. Your phone's your life. So for me, we have a little bit of a mobile app that was actually created because I was standing at a 60th birthday party, and there was a group of guys that were talking about how one of their fathers really beat the system by claiming early and then living to 95, and he's still living. And all I wanted was just this quick way to show him, hey, there might have been, well, at least now there would be totally different options. And so, like everyone else, we're really in that phone space because it's just indispensable to our lives as advisors.
Listen, I wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Joe, the information you're providing is fantastic. For those of you that are interested, I would recommend, just to be aware, go to www.socialsecuritytiming.com. You can take a look at their service, what their offerings are, and there are some scenarios that not only you can see how the service works, like he did state, Joe said there is a mobile app. I think you'll find it to be quite intriguing. My name again is Bryan Mills with AdvzrTek, and for all your technology app reviews and technology reviews, come to www.AdvzrTek.com. And again, thank you for your time.